This is one of the most beautiful and tragic phases in all of art history. Ophelia, a character driven to madness and death by grief. For over 150 years, millions have gazed at this masterpiece, mesmerized by its haunting beauty. But what if I told you that this serene image is a lie? What if this peaceful scene conceals a story of real-life suffering, so intense it almost led to the death of its model? And what if every single flower, every leaf, every reed in this painting isn't just a decoration, but a clue? We will expose the cursed story behind its creation and decode the secret language of flowers that tells the true, heartbreaking stories of Ophelia's demise. To understand the painting, we must first know the girl. Ophelia was a noble woman in the court of Denmark, and she was deeply in love with Prince Hamlet. Her world was one of promise, until it was poisoned by suspicion. Her family commanded her to reject Hamlet, to act as a bait in their schemes. And Hamlet, tormented by his own demons and feigning madness, turned on her with brutal cruelty. He denied his love and ordered her to a nunnery, shattering her heart. But the final blow came when the man she loved, Hamlet, accidentally murdered her father. That single act severed the last thread holding her sanity together. Ophelia, broken by grief and betrayal, descended into a beautiful, heartbreaking madness. She began wandering the castle, singing fragmented songs and handing out imaginary flowers to the court, each one symbolizing her pain. Her death, as described in the play, was not a violent struggle, but a passive surrender. She fell into the river while picking flowers and, lost in her own songs, allowed the water to claim her. This is the tragic figure Millais chose to immortalize. So, why was Millais, a young artistic rebel, so obsessed with this specific moment? Because for him and his pre-Raphaelite brothers, Ophelia was the perfect subject. She was a figure of intense, raw emotion. Her story was a tragedy of the soul, and her death took place not in a palace, but embraced by the wild, untamed nature they worshipped. Painting Ophelia was his ultimate manifesto against the fake, sterile art of his time. And to give her story its true, tragic weight, he embedded symbols of life and death that go far beyond just the flowers. For example, the martyr's pose. Look at her posture. Her arms are open, her palms turned up. This is not the pose of a struggle, it is the pose of acceptance, of a religious martyr. Millais isn't just painting a victim, he is elevating her to a secular saint, sacrificed for the sins of others. The robin. A tiny detail most people miss. In British folklore, the robin is a symbol of hope, charity, and the soul. To place this symbol of hope at the scene of a tragedy is a deeply poignant statement of what has been lost. The hidden skull. And here is the painting's most chilling secret. For years, viewers have pointed out this shape, hidden in the gnarled branches and leaves of the bank. A skull, a memento mori, the classic artistic reminder of death. It watches over the scene, reminding us that death is always present, lurking in the shadows of beauty. But the symbols hidden within the paint are only half the story. The true secret tragedy of this painting isn't just what you can see, it's what the artist and his model had to endure to create it. But before we uncover that incredible human story, I wanted to mention that if you are as captivated by this masterpiece as I am, you can now bring it into your own home. I'm offering a museum-quality fine art print of Ophelia on my store. Every detail, from the hidden skull to the last flower, is captured perfectly. The link is right at the top of the description below. Her name was Elizabeth Siddal, a poet, an artist, and the pre-Raphaelite's most famous muse. To capture the authentic look of a drowning woman, Millais had her pose for hours on end, day after day, lying in a full bathtub of water in his studio. To keep the water warm during the cold winter months, he placed oil lamps underneath the tub. But one day, deep in his work, He didn't notice the lamps had gone out. The water became ice cold. Siddal, a true professional, never broke her pose. She said nothing. The result? She developed a severe case of pneumonia that almost killed her. Her furious father threatened to sue Millais for his negligence. The artist, horrified, was forced to pay all of her extensive medical bills. The beautiful, serene face of Ophelia was born from a very real, near-death experience. But the suffering of the model is only the first layer of this investigation. The real secret lies in the flowers. In Victorian England, there was a complex, silent language called florography, where every flower had a specific meaning. Millais, the master of detail, used this language to create a forensic, botanical profile of Ophelia's sorrow. Let's decode the evidence. The poppies. The most famous symbol of all. Even today, they represent sleep, dreams, and death. A clear indicator of Ophelia's final, eternal rest. The daisies, a seemingly cheerful flower, but here they symbolize innocence. Millais is telling us that a pure, innocent soul has been lost. The violets. Ophelia speaks of violets in the play. They symbolize faithfulness, chastity, and death in youth. The violet chain around her neck is like a beautiful, tragic funeral wreath. The nettles. And here on the back, growing out of the darkness, are nettles, a plant that stings, that causes harm, a direct symbol of the pain she endured at the hands of those who betrayed her. The weeping willow for forsaken love, the pansies for thought that unrequited love. Each flower is a word. Together they form a sentence, a verdict. This was not just a tragic accident. This was a death caused by pain, lost innocence, and forsaken love. Millais didn't just paint Ophelia's death, he painted the autopsy. The painting is a masterpiece, not just because it is beautiful, but because it is a paradox. It is a moment of perfect, serene beauty, born from a moment of intense, real-world suffering. It is a reminder that behind every great work of art, there is a human story, and sometimes that story is as tragic as the one on the canvas. But what happens when another master from another school of art takes that obsession to a cosmic, almost insane level? Gustave Moreau's Jupiter and Semele is less a painting and more an entire universe of hidden symbols, telling the story of another woman who was destroyed by seeing a terrible truth.